The dust has settled on week 2 of the college football season, looking ahead to week 3. But with the week 3 around the corner, I guess more or less arrived, we got the AP poll to unpack. So what we're going to do here is answer 25 questions pertaining to the top 25 teams in the country asked by our very own Alley Runner Extraordinaire, producer the Hard Count, not once, but twice. All-conference safety from App State, the man Caden Smith. You know him as Cato. Cato, this was your idea. I'm very excited to do this. This is going to be a great way to touch a lot of different teams and get a pulse for what's going on across the country. But I'm fired up, and I appreciate you bringing this juice to the table here, brother.
Yeah, man, no problem. I'm excited to do it too. These are my 25 questions. Maybe if this gets going, people can submit their own questions for the top 25. But we'll go down 1 to 25. Keep the interest up on the top teams of the country.
Love it.
That starts off, of course, with the Ohio State Buckeyes. So what player, coach, or position group would you worry about the most in Ohio State defending their national title this year?
It's a great question. And I'll preface here, too. This is not something Kate and I talked about before, and we got aligned on questions. Like, this is all in real time. I think my knee-jerk reaction is I want to see what that front seven, more specifically the defensive line in the middle, looks like as the season progresses. Feel good about the edges. Feel good about Sonny Styles in the middle of that defense. I feel good about the back end. The middle of that defense, though, as we progress, remember now, I believe Texas outrushed Ohio State in the game where Ohio State won. So it wasn't like it was this massive weakness for Ohio State by any stretch of the imagination. But that's one piece of the team now I'm looking at as we get further and further in the year. When you go play Michigan, when you play Penn State later in the year, are you able to match up how you need to match up when you're a little bit dinged up, everyone's a little battered and bruised? Can you still bring what you need in the trenches to win those football games? I think they can, but that's one thing I'm watching here. It's champagne problems for the Buckeyes, Cato. Great question, though.
Sounds like you're not too worried about the quarterback position then with first-year starter Julian Sand looking pretty good against Grambling State, like you'd want him to look, obviously. But Ohio State quarterback, kind of hard, no matter how first year of a starter you are, I guess, to really worry about that position when it's not been one to ever worry about kind of in the Ryan Day era.
Yeah, I think I'm going to need to see more to worry about from Julian Sand. Because the Texas game is one thing, but like if we get to, middle of the season, Julian Sand's looking a little shaky-ish, then maybe I change my answer on that.
Shaky-ish, I like that. All right, number 2 in the country is Penn State. Have we or will we learn anything important about Penn State before they play Oregon on September 27th? They play Villanova, and then they have a bye week before that game.
Another great question. The answer is no. Penn State's going to roll folks. What I would like to see if I'm a Penn State fan is one of these receivers just like pop off. I'm talking like double-digit catches, over 100 yards, just to kind of get the vibes up about that position group. But I think when they play Oregon, at home, wide out, night game, all those things, that'll be the moment where we say, okay, these are games now where typically Penn State over the course of the last few years, games that you've lost. If you can win that game and do it throwing the football downfield with this receiving core, then I think we say, all right, Penn State, this year is not like the others.
Yeah, another sluggish first half performance from a team in the top 25 this weekend with what they did against FIU. So they'll have a couple more weeks to clean it up before Oregon, but definitely excited about them as my national title pick. So we'll see if
it's a good pick.
Out.
I think Herbie after week 1, Kirk Herbstreit had them with LSU in the national title game. I think that was his way too early shot call. And hey, that would be a good day for the hard count.
Yeah,
with your national title and my national title pick in there, that would be good. I'm just saying.
Speak of the devil and it shall appear. Number 3 in the country, LSU. How good are you feeling about LSU as your national champion pick 2 weeks into the college football season?
So my wife will every now and then get a pulse for what we're saying. She doesn't watch the show, but I'll tell her, oh, we made predictions today. And she's like, oh, who'd you pick to win, whatever conference? Who'd you pick to win the national championship? And I said LSU when it all happened. She's like, LSU? Are they supposed to be good this year? And then she circled back on that later. She's like, do you feel worse about this is before the season started. She's like, do you feel worse about LSU? And I was like, I feel better every day for picking LSU to win the national championship. Was I posturing a little bit there? Sure. Is there some truth to it? Absolutely. The defense looking as good as they do and the offensive line not getting dominated by Clemson, I still feel real good about this one, Kato. I think 2 weeks into the season, the confidence level is still where you would like to be for your preseason national championship pick.
Yeah, no matter what happens this year, they're not taking week 1 from you. So
we'll always have week 1.
We'll always have week 1.
We'll always have
just
week
like
1.
Just like North Carolina will always have that first drive. It's looking like that first drive against TCU.
Dude.
They'll always have that. No one's taking that from them, man.
I don't think they'll be in this segment anytime soon. The Fighting Chapel Bills, bro.
Win over Charlotte. We're 1-1. We'll see. We'll see.
They could still go. They could still be in this.
They control their own destiny.
Control their own freaking destiny. That's the truth of it.
All right, number 4 in the country is Oregon. In 2 weeks, Oregon has had 12 different players record rushes and 12 players catch passes. Could this be the most dangerous offense of the Dan Lanning era?
Hang on. Stats by Cato, first of all.
That's
the
crazy.
Knowledge.
They're filling up the box score, man. You're going to get my attention if you do that.
Stat sheet, double stuff stat sheet. Like double stuff Oreos, double stuffed stat sheet. Dude, I think it will be. And I know there's a degree of hyperbole here because you say, well, Bo Nix was incredible. He's doing what he's doing in the NFL now. Dylan Gabriel was just a walking road to glory stat sheet with what he was doing. But I think what you just said, the depth, and also, too, I think the skill players are very quietly some of the best of the Dan Lanning era. I know it's not Tez Johnson, but like DeCorian Moore has got a freshman next to his name on the roster. He's not playing like a freshman. And I know it's early, but like I've seen enough to be like, that dude's a touch different. Kenyon Sadiq, you know, Cato, we are first team all Sadiq stands over here on this side,
quarterback
man.
This weekend. Like, the dude's insane.
He's nuts. And then Dante Moore with him throwing the ball downfield and the way that he looks, still early, but I think I'm buying stock in both like the talent and then also Will Stein continuing to get into his bag. I think it will be the best and the deepest offense of the Dan Lanning era. I think it's 100% true.
Yeah, and compared to last year, man, they're doing what they need to do and what they should do early. So that's a big, promising sign if you're a Ducks fan for sure. Number 5 in the country is Miami. JD, you left Miami out of your preseason college football playoff field through 2 weeks of the season. Would you want to add the Hurricanes to that field if you had to project it again?
Part of me just wants to be stubborn and kind of stick to the guns a little bit because it is week 2. I don't think anybody should ever question the top end talent at Miami or like the top speed they're able to touch. I'm curious about Miami for the road trip. I know they can drag race, dude. Like I know when you say go, if you put Miami on the field with anybody, if you get Miami on the right day with Carson Beck, now with that skill, with the offensive line, defense looks like it's better-ish. We'll see how they progress. I want to see if Miami can sustain. You know what I mean? Like when we get to those games later in the year where Miami is favored by a touchdown or maybe they're favored by double digits, can you still bring your best to the table? Because it's not something we saw from them last year. Like this time a year ago, I was saying Miami's a playoff team. Go ahead and like write it in pen. I want to wait a little bit longer. I want to go on a few more dates before we buy a ring for committing to Miami.
Understandable.
You know what I mean?
Understandable. And given our last experience in Miami, maybe there's a touch of experience there that might be influencing your opinion here. So we'll see how it works out for Miami. We have a lot of time between now and the national championship in Miami, so that'll be
flying into Fort Lauderdale, verified.
Confirmed.
Stamps.
Confirmed flight into Fort Lauderdale instead of Miami Airport. Number 6 in the country, the Georgia Bulldogs. Do you think Gunnar Stockton has the traits to lead UGA to a national championship or national championship heights similar to a Stetson Bennett?
That's a really good and really tough question.
Thank you.
I don't know they've opened it up enough for us to have a great gauge. My gut is yes, because my gut is if Georgia didn't think he was good enough to run their system and get them to where they wanted to go, like there's a very clear, we talked about it, Cato, there's a very clear like national title standard in the building in Athens. If Gunnar Stockton wasn't measuring up to that throughout his time there and they didn't think he was going to be good enough, they would have gone and like grabbed somebody else and brought them to start. They went to the portal and kind of kicked the tires on a few guys, I believe to add competition, not to replace Gunnar Stockton. So I think with him plus the talent around him, which is maybe more important at Georgia, I think the answer is yes there. I don't have a ton of conviction saying that. I think the answer is yes.
Yeah, it's very interesting. It's intangibles. Also has to do with the weapons that surround you and the defense supporting you at Georgia. It's a big system there, and I think Stetson Bennett was just a perfect fit for that. And I think some of the traits Gunnar might have some of those too. So we'll see.
He's got some of that moxie. He wears a visor.
Yeah.
We're both. I mean, I don't know if it means anything, but Georgia needed a quarterback that wore a visor. You know what I'm saying?
It makes a difference. It's the little things for sure. It's a better vibe to look at in the huddle, when he's barking out orders. So
I trust him.
I hear that. Number 7 ranked team in the country is the Texas Longhorns. Could have won a lot of places here. I went with a simple question that I just feel like is big picture and not getting asked. Will Arch Manning have a better Texas career than Quinn Ewers?
Wow. Will he have a better Texas career than Quinn Ewers? Is this, now I just want to ask a clarifying question. Is this relative to team success, or is this relative to, like, when you look at the numbers at the end of his career, they will be better than Quinn Ewers?
I'll honestly say both, JD. I feel like Quinn Ewers is a little underrated when it comes to his stats, and team success, I think, speaks for itself. So he's a guy who's been in the playoffs. He's a guy who beat Nick Saban Alabama teams. Like, I think Quinn has become underrated. Just the way his career ended was kind of weird. So you can take it wherever you want as far as the Arch Manning Quinn Ewers comparison. Just wanted to give him a little comp here for you.
Because I think a lot of people look at last year and say, oh, well, it was a failure for Texas and Quinn wasn't that great. They won in spite of Quinn. I'm like, dog, Quinn took them to the game before the national title game, not once but twice, in two different playoff formats. So I think the team success bar is actually set pretty high. I'm going to say yes, Caden. I think that Texas, with Arch as their quarterback, maybe not this year because I can't tell what we're going to get from him in November this year. I think Texas will win a national title before Arch Manning leaves campus, or at the very least play for a national title. Not to back off that take, but if they get past the semis, that in itself would define team success. And for them to get there, that would, I think, require a pretty solid effort from A1 Arch Manning. So I'll say yes for both there.
Yeah, I think his legs gives him a ceiling that they can reach probably without Quinn. So we'll see, man. Quinn though. Just a little Quinn Ewers appreciation there for sure.
Shout out Quinn, dude.
The number 8th ranked team in the country, the Notre Dame Fighting Irish, given their schedule and lack of conference championship potential, is this a must-win game for them this weekend against Texas A&M?
Yes, it is. Because we talked about this on our show last week, I think, Caden. If you lose this game, if you're Notre Dame, you're not out of the playoff discussion, but all control that you maybe thought you had with one loss to Miami to start the year is out the window. At that point, we're going to have so many conversations here, you and me, Caden, on a Tuesday night Washington Selection Show. Reese Davis talks about Notre Dame, and they're at 13 this week. They're at 12. They're at 14. Like, they're going to be on the outside looking in a lot, and we'll say, is Notre Dame going to get left out for no conference title? Is that going to be what keeps them out? And there's going to be a lot of teams that have a conference title and that will maybe find their way into that situation, maybe with 2 losses. We'll see. You lose control. You can't lose control. Your second game of the regular season must win for Notre Dame for that reason, in my opinion.
Yeah, we've talked about the South Bend Invitational and how with Marcus Freeman at the helm there, they'll probably just host a playoff game every year. This is kind of the flip side of it. Like, if you don't take care of business early in the season, all of a sudden you could be on the outside looking in, and that's when we get into strength of schedule and all of the normal jargon that the committee uses. So
still play USC.
Yeah, we'll see.
Still play USC.
They're already, I think, in let's root on everyone on our schedules. Success kind
Fakes
of mode.
Paying
so
out. Yeah.
We'll see.
Watch parties. They're dialed.
Number 9 in the country, latest AP poll, Illinois. Do you think Illinois is one of the 10 best teams in the country, like their number 9 ranking suggests?
Ooh, good question. So per our own rankings, I do not have Illinois within the top 10. And that's not me hating on Altmaier or Bielema or any of that. I think they're phenomenal. I do not think they're a top 10 team. I want to see them play against some better competition going forward. Because I think for Illinois, we keep talking about like the psychology of it. This is kind of uncharted territory for this Illinois team. They're always that sneaky, you got to go to Champaign. That's kind of a scrappy Illinois team. Now it's like Illinois was picked by a lot of people to be in the college football playoff because of what they brought back, because of their schedule. So Illinois, I got to see it a little bit more to believe it. The Duke win is great. I want to see them against some better teams handle business. And then from there, maybe we can change the tune on the Illini.
Yeah, I liked how they looked against Duke, and they have a very interesting game against Indiana coming up, which is like the team they get compared to as far as that Big Ten team that could make it. So we'll see. But number 10, Florida State, one of the hottest teams in the country. How legit do you think Florida State is as an ACC title contender, which in hand is a CFP contender?
I think they are on the doorstep of that. We did not, going back to our rankings, have Florida State in our top 10, and we got all the accusations of, man, the hate for Florida State is crazy, man. Y'all keep doubting the Noles. And it's like, I just want to see them play another team with a less massive spotlight that could beat them. Because the Alabama game is not tough to get up for. Like the Alabama game, you getting up for that one and winning that game is impressive, but it doesn't require any extra juice. Like you should have everything you need internally. I love seeing them beat the brakes off of A&M, East Texas A&M this past weekend, Cato. I want to see, we keep circling it, the Friday night game where they got to go, I think it's to Virginia. Like, are you Are you dialed up for that one? Is that one that you care about as much as the Alabama game? If that's the case, then I feel like I have a lot of answers as to who Florida State's going to be this year. But we saw we picked them to make the playoff last year. They went 2-10. Like I got some trust issues here a little bit. I want to see it before I believe it all the way, at least.
Well, we'll see if Thomas Castellanos can gain that trust because he's balling right now for sure.
It's true.
Number 11 in the country, South Carolina. Is there a harder player to game plan against in the country than Lenore Sellers?
Ken, I'll keep this one short and sweet. No. Touch the ball every play. No.
Other side of the rivalry, number 12 ranked Clemson. How much should Clemson fans be worried right now coming off of a Week 1 loss, being down to Troy at halftime, and now visiting a tough Georgia Tech team this weekend?
I think if you're a Clemson fan in your college football group chat, you're still standing your ground, but you are in some ways trying to maybe curry the favor of the group chat a little bit. Like maybe before the year, you're like, we're winning the national championship, we're coming for all y'all, whatever. Maybe this year, this week I should say, after what we saw, you're like, hey, your team looks pretty good. Hey, yeah, I'd like to see, like you're maybe a little bit more humility. You're not backing off your take that you're going to win the national championship if you're a Clemson fan, but I think humility here is just kind of a good fan play, in my opinion. I'm not too worried just yet because we saw Oregon kind of do a similar thing a year ago. Didn't lose the first week, but just kind of got slow out of the gates. I think talent will eventually get them to where they want to go, which is ACC champion and all those things that they have on their goal list in the locker room, I'm sure. I'm not too worried just yet, but I would maybe like start to prep a little bit for the group chat.
Yeah, I think the high highs and the low lows kind of have me worried. Like if they were the occasional play gone wrong, offensive line messing up protection and stuff, but there's highs and there's lows, so that scares me a little bit, the volatility of them for sure. But number 13 in the country, Oklahoma, big win against Michigan this weekend. Is John Mateer the equalizer to Oklahoma's hard schedule that we were talking about this whole offseason?
100%. With that, dude, you should feel like you can and maybe will win every game that you play. Now, I'm not predicting that. I don't have Oklahoma in our playoff as of right now, but you always have a chance with that dude in the game. Similar to what we said about South Carolina, or we have them at number 11 in our rankings. Like I think as long as that guy is your starting quarterback and he's the lineup, you're going to have a chance. Plus with that defense, Cato, like the offense was like the part that you were worried about going into the year. You felt good about the defense, and that gets verified. If the offense looks like that, you have a chance in every game. Now, I don't love him getting 20 carries. That kind of concerns me a touch. But with John Mateer, absolutely to answer your question, the equalizer in every game.
Yeah, I think Oklahoma's goal going forward should be like try to win games without having to do that to John Mateer's body, and we'll be good. But if we have to, you can count on him to do it, and I think it'll be all good vibes in Norman for sure. I think you're going to like this question. Number 14th ranked team in the country is Iowa State. JD, why is Iowa State the highest ranked Big 12 team, but they have the 6th best odds to win the conference according to BetMGM? Plus 800 right now behind Utah, Texas Tech, Arizona State, TCU, and Baylor.
That's a great question. Again, stats by Cato. I'm just saying the only answer that I think I have to this, Cato, is the Big 12 is on drugs. Everyone knows the Big 12 is on drugs. So at this point in the year, we're still not 100% sure what the Big 12 is going to be. So I think everyone's so nervous to make a definitive take. I would have to. I think you mentioned some of those odds. I would have to believe the actual odds from Iowa State and then the team that's favored to win the Big 12. Is that Utah at this point?
It is Utah, yes.
I would have to imagine it's a pretty close margin between those two when it comes to betting favorites.
Yeah, I don't have that data right now. I'm
sure it's close though. It was supposed to be a year.
Yeah, I imagine it's close. They're plus 800 right now, so I can't imagine anyone ahead of them has super better odds.
You're Rocco Beckstock, man.
I love the Clones, man. I love the Clones.
The Clone Wars.
They're tough. They're gritty. I think that'll win a lot of games in the Big 12, but we also have a lot of good quarterbacks who can air it out too, so they might have to win a shootout. I think the Big 12 has completely filled the void of the Pac-12, and we're all the way back as far as the most watchable conference, I think, week in and week out.
It's so awesome.
Number 15th ranked team in the country is Tennessee. Would Tennessee retire Joey Aguilar's jersey if he led the Vols to a win over Georgia following the Nico saga?
No, they wouldn't actually retire it because I believe Alvin Kamara also wore number 6, and he hasn't gotten that treatment just yet. But golly, and whatever the trophy room is named in Knoxville, there would be a specific portion of that carved out.
You have a wing, the Aguilar wing of the trophy
Aguilar
room.
Get a nice little oil painting with like them carrying him off on his shoulders. and Josh Heupel and him high-fiving. Maybe you put the jersey up there. Cigar, all that. Yeah, dude. I don't know if you retire the number, but you get in what you just said, a little Aguilar's corner in the trophy room in Knoxville.
I think it'd be the best emotional win, just all things considered, like just the dichotomy of all, if you will.
It'd be a movie.
That'd be awesome.
Be a movie script.
I like how Tennessee's looked better than Georgia this season so far. I will say that.
True.
Number 16th ranked team in the country is Texas A&M. The Aggies have not looked super impressive despite a 2-0 start. Are you worried about them making the college football playoff like you projected earlier this year?
I'm not just yet. One part of this is I'm stubborn. Two, I'm also, I think, a little bit open-handed with the first few weeks of the season, especially when everyone's keeping it vanilla when you play Utah State. When you play the lesser opponents, you're kind of trying to keep it all under wraps, as you well know, Caden. So I think for that reason, I am okay with how A&M looks right now. But if they roll out there against Notre Dame, and it's just like, what in the world is going on defense? Why are they getting just pushed off the line like they're not even supposed to be on that field? If it looks like that and Marcel Reed looks a little bit shaky, then I start to gain some concern. So the first 2 weeks, not worried just yet.
Yeah, I think it's a little too early to tell, but biggest test obviously coming up here this weekend, taking a trip to South Bend. Number 17th ranked team in the country is Ole Miss. How long do you think Lane Kiffin stays at Ole Miss?
You know what? With all the talk around some of these jobs, maybe getting the help wanted sign on them from Florida. I know people in Tuscaloosa a week ago were saying, hey, if Kalen DeBoer does it again, we're going to have some problems. Dude, I think he stays at Ole Miss for the next 3 years. I really do. I think that he, to me, seems to have changed his temperament a little bit as it pertains to like where he's at in his career. When he got to Ole Miss, I think the vibe was he's here for a good time, not a long time. He's going to make Ole Miss fun, competitive, and then he's out. He's had a chance to do that a couple of different times. The Auburn job, the Bama job, I don't know that he was actually up for, but his name got thrown around in those circles, as it seems like it always is these days. I think that he's happy at Ole Miss. I think that Ole Miss embraces him. I think Lane Kiffin's kind of an acquired taste. Like I think the big reason why Auburn wasn't a good fit for him is like if you saw the whole Brian Harsin thing. There's a certain expectation and maybe a list of prerequisites that you need to check for us with how you operate as a head coach. And Lane Kiffin's like, I'm going to tweet funny things. I'm going to say funny things to the media. I'm going to kind of do my own thing. And Ole Miss loves that, embraces that, and supports that. So I think Ole Miss is great for him. I think he gets that. I think he stays there for the next 3 years, Caden.
We'll see. I think this will be an interesting offseason potentially with some coaching dominoes. We haven't had one in a couple of years, but this could be the next big one. We'll see. Cracking the top 25 at number 18, USF, Group of 5 representative. JD, did USF beat Florida or did Florida beat themselves this weekend?
It's tough because I don't want to say that Florida beat themselves, but Florida should have won that football game. Florida should have won that football game. Now, USF played well enough to capitalize on Florida's mistakes, but there's a reason why that spread was double digits going in. There's a reason why I think when Florida got the ball back with less than 3 minutes, we're all like, okay, good effort by USF, but like this thing's about to be put on ice. Florida's about to put it away. The mismanagement of the play call, I don't know if play calling is the way to phrase it or if it's like the management at quarterback with throwing the ball when I believe they maybe had a called run. I don't know how it all shook out at the end of the game, but I know that they threw 2 passes the last 3 plays with less than 3 minutes. Cannot happen. Cannot happen. So I'm going to go ahead and say that Florida lost. Now, USF deserves to be here. The Boise State win and the win against Florida. The Miami filter is going to be real fun for us to see where USF is here going forward.
Just punch their ticket if they beat Miami. Just put them in the college football playoff. Just
buy tickets.
That'd be awesome. I think if you start the season off with 3 ranked wins, 2 Power 5, like just put them in now.
And one of them the playoff win.
Let's just put them on ice for conference play and make sure they're at their best playoff time. That's my theory.
I want hats post game. I want T-shirts that say "Bulls to the playoff" or like "We're in" or popping champagne. I want like a celebration, like they won their conference and punched their playoff ticket if they beat Miami. I think you're all into that.
Got to get through conference play, but yeah, they're making a great early case as the top 25 poll indicates. Number 19 ranked Alabama. Feels weird to say. Can't believe they're ranked 19th in the country in that name, that logo. But is Kalen DeBoer Alabama's head coach next season if they miss the college football playoff?
Yes, so long as they are one of those teams where people are still arguing that they should have gotten the playoff after the final thing is released. Because last year they go 9-3, and there was a lot of people beating the drum for Bama should have gotten in. They're better than SMU. They're better than X, Y, and Z team that got in over them. If Alabama's sitting there at like, this is crazy to say, Caden, 7-5, 8-4, then things get very, very uncomfortable. I still have a hard time believing they would fire him after 2 seasons. That still feels tough for me to imagine. But if we see 3 more games that look like that Florida State game, I think your hands are tied at that point. So, yes, he's there next year if they miss the playoff, but I do think we got to have some respect on our own name if we're Alabama and Kalen DeBoer when we finish the season.
Yeah, man, the Crimson Tide fans are not going to be thrilled with a 7 in front of the record. So I could see anarchy starting and buyout bidding starting, and yeah, it can get better before it gets worse. So very interesting to watch.
Dude, could you imagine the offseason that we'd have if they missed the playoff again? How many Kalen DeBoer you were like media days next year, wherever they're at? Could you imagine the buzz around Kalen DeBoer and the questions they'll have to answer at the podium if they missed the playoff again?
Pressure's on, man. Big shoes to fill, but that's just a hard job to have, man. It comes with the territory. Number 20th ranked team in the country, Utah. Is Kyle Whittingham the most underrated coach of our lifetime?
I was waiting for you to say my Utes because these are your boys, man. You called your shot in the preseason. I mean, you've been on the Devin Dampier train since it left the station. You got first-class seating in the Devin Dampier train.
I do love Utah, man. That's my team this year. I love the Utes. And I love Kyle Whittingham.
Dude, 100%. He's been there forever. Mm-hmm. He's been there forever. He has made a program in Utah that's not necessarily like located in the hotbed of high school recruiting talent, which isn't to knock Utah, but if you want to go get players to compete at the level Utah's competed at, you typically have to go elsewhere across the country. And Utah's done that to some degree, but also done it with a lot of local kids. I think the answer to your question is yes. I think what he has done is irrefutable at Utah, and I think that Utah, with your playoff pick in the preseason, is trending that direction right now. And just the way he's done it with culture, with toughness, you kind of get the same Utah team every year. You just know they're going to be, outside of last year with injuries, you know they're just going to be a bear to play every single week. Yeah, absolutely. Most underrated coach of our lifetime, no question.
Joel Klatt always says like he'd gladly like have his sons play for Kyle Whittingham, and I think that's the best way to describe it. But no, I was tempted to ask you, hey JD, like why am I just the man for picking Utah to win the Big 12? But this is a conference that has a lot of unpredictability. I like what I'm seeing so far. They're physical, love the quarterback, offensive coordinator combination coming over. So we'll see. But my Utes looking pretty good right now. Another team in the Big 12, Texas Tech, coming in at 21. What would Texas Tech winning the Big 12 and making the college football playoff mean for the future of college football, given their NIL backing?
I love this question. I think it would mean that everybody else that maybe isn't in the blue blood tier of your, Ohio States or Michigans that you just sort of assume have elite backing, every other team across college football, maybe especially in the Big 12, says, we need to do what they're doing. We need to follow the Texas Tech model. And it's easier said than done because they've got a billionaire backing some of this roster, which is, not a small term to throw around. But I think if they end up winning the conference, it becomes very clear, okay, you can legitimately buy a conference title. You can buy a college football playoff berth. Here's the numbers. Here's how it works. Now, Joey McGuire deserves a lot of credit for making that roster work if they do go and win the Big 12. But, yeah, it would, I think, be kind of a reimagining of sorts of how you win in college football. Because we're already saying you go to the portal and put together a super team and whatever. But like if Texas Tech does it and makes the playoff, I think the game has changed forever.
Just an oil-funded powerhouse, potentially.
There's oil all over the place.
You gotta love it.
In Texas, right? I mean,
you gotta love it.
Baylor,
Texas,
TCU.
Texas is gonna be a hot spot, man. I think between the NIL backing that can exist across several of the schools and just the pipeline of Texas high school football, could get dangerous really quick. But
UTSA, Houston,
Rice.
I digress.
Come on,
Rice.
We'll see.
I'd love that.
Number 22, Indiana. Could you squint and see Indiana going 10-2 and sneaking back into the college football playoff? The hardest games in the end of their schedule: Oregon, Penn State, Illinois, Iowa. I think after that, it's a lot of games they'll probably be favored in.
I could squint to see it. I might need binoculars just because I think that the Big Ten and their schedule within the Big Ten this year, it's not not nearly as favorable as it was a year ago. You mentioned those games they have to play with Oregon, with like those are just going to be, I think, a lot tougher than what they had a year ago. I love Cignetti. I love the way that he operates. I love the way he talks his cash. I don't think they'll be in the playoff. I would have to squint pretty intensely to see it, but I wouldn't say it's like the wildest thing in the world. That's a very vanilla take for you, Cato. A more definitive answer is no, don't think it'll happen. Would it be the most surprising thing? Also, no.
I think they can lose to Oregon and Penn State, and that'd be it. And
win
the rest of their games.
Yeah.
Like, I could see them doing it, man. Just Google their head coach when you get a chance. That's all I'll tell the viewers. But
what's the name? Yeah, Sig something.
Curtis Cignetti, Google him. Number 23, Michigan. How do you think Bryce Underwood looked in the first big game of his college career?
I thought he looked like he belonged. I mean, to use what Dabo said the week before, got the final exam first day of class.
Second week of class, yeah.
Final exam, second week of class. Like, that's tough, man. I don't know that he'll play a more difficult defense before they go play against Ohio State at the end of the year when it comes to, like, schematics and things that, being thrown at you, and also the fact that it was on the road. I understand the stat line was bad, but to me, there was no, oh, man, that's a freshman moment right there. Mm-hmm. Oh, man, freshman mistake. What are you doing? Like, I said this on our reaction. Bryce Underwood is the future. He's just the first one there. There's no other weapons to maximize Bryce Underwood. So I think this year and what he does should be taken with a grain of salt, but poise coming out of his ears, Cato. That was what stood out to me.
Yeah, he was very confident and comfortable. I think he'll only get better. He'll be awesome to watch. It'll only be a matter of time before. We're talking about this kid going number 1 overall. He's got a nice big 3-year runway and looked pretty good and composed, I would say. Number 24 ranked in the team in the country, Auburn. What does Auburn's quarterback room look like between Jackson Arnold and Deuce Knight in the next 2 years?
Ooh. I think if Auburn goes out and wins 8 games, we're saying Jackson Arnold's back, and he's going to be there for another year, and you feel confident having continuity at quarterback, and probably the discussion around Auburn gets a lot more real next year because going from 5 wins to 8 wins is a 3-win jump. So you say if you can win 2 more games the year, the upcoming year, we'll see what the schedule is, but you can win 2 more games, you're at 10. 10 in the SEC should get you to the playoff. But I also think as much as we're saying that around Jackson Arnold, we're also very quietly mumbling, well, hey, but Deuce Knight's a 5-star. Well, hey, but Deuce Knight probably has to play. You're not keeping that dude on the sideline for 2 years. So I think Deuce Knight's role gets expanded, and I think that conversation could potentially be increasingly more uncomfortable for a one Jackson Arnold should he come back for another year at Auburn. Because, I mean, Caden, we've talked about it. You got to maximize those weapons on the perimeter. Like, if they win 8 games, awesome. But if they win 8 games and Cam Coleman has a pedestrian, season stat line, you're like, well, could we have won 9 if we threw the ball to Cam Coleman more or Eric Singleton more or, like, actually involved the entirety of this offense? So to give you a definitive answer, Arnold will be back and the starter, I believe. But Deuce Knight's role will only be increased, and I think that's the right way to go.
Yeah, I think that week 1 was awesome. Like, congratulations. Jackson Arnold getting his swagger back was cool to see. Did a very Nick Marshall-esque kind of, like, impression, though, in that game, and I don't think Eric Singleton came to Auburn to watch Jackson Arnold run the ball a ton. So it'll be interesting to see how their offense evolves, and in hand, how many games they win, and in hand, how many snaps we see from a Deuce Knight, and if he stays or goes in the future behind Arnold. Very interesting situation, I think, there in the Plains that I wanted to shed some light on.
That's a good question.
Number 25, last but not least, MIZ. For Missouri, it's only been 2 weeks, but Bo Perbula ranks 2nd in the SEC behind only John Mateer in passing yards, 617. If he can maintain this, what is Missouri's ceiling this year?
Cade, they could be a playoff team.
Their schedule's hard, but he's balling.
It's crazy because this time a year ago, how many people were like, Missouri, dark horse playoff, Missouri, look at the schedule, Missouri, and like they had Brady Cook, they had Luther Burden. What if this is the year Missouri wins 10 games and makes the playoff, and it's because they got a backup quarterback from Penn State to transfer in, and it wasn't one of like the greatest to roll through Missouri with Brady Cook, and it wasn't the biggest recruiting win of Missouri, arguably Missouri history, in landing Luther Burden. Like, it's because they went and got Bo Perbula. Dude, he's got some juice. He's fun to watch, man. He's really fun to watch.
It's like he has 600 yards, but like he had most of them Saturday, like against a good Kansas team. Like, if like we look at his stats next to John Mateer's, and we're hyping up John Mateer obviously a ton, and rightfully so. But like, what if this is just like Bo Prabula as well. Like, what if this is just what he is? Like, what if he's going to be the main catalyst in why you win games? I think it's pretty exciting. I think they're going to be a good team to watch this year throughout the season with what he's got.
And 2 backs over 100 yards, dude. 2 backs over 100. Like, they are really well built offensively, and I think that'll sustain them. If you can run the ball like that and then push it downfield with Prabula, they're going to be there at the end, I think. I think they're going to be on a make a run watch here for a long time. Caden, you asked a lot of really good questions. I want to flip one back around on you, though, as moving to week 3. Week 3, with the phenomenal slate that we got Georgia, Tennessee, we got Notre Dame A&M. Like, we got a bunch of awesome games with some bigger brands that I think maybe more folks will be tuned into as opposed to last week. Last week was a very a pure spread, if you will, of college football. What will be the word of week 3 when the dust settles and we go back and look at this next top 25? What will be the word if you had to distill it down to a word? Or we'll provide some more runway.
I was about to say,
word or phrase. Or phrase.
A word or phrase?
Mm-hmm.
This is just
It's not as good a question as what you asked me.
I'm about to say, you're gonna get next time we do this. I'm gonna ask some deep thought questions for you to see how you like it. I think it's gonna be quarterback play. I think it's gonna be quarterback play.
Huh.
I think there's a lot of leverage spots this week, and I think experience is gonna speak this week. I think like a Marcel Reed versus a CJ Carr. We'll see who has the better quarterback play. I think there's going to be a lot of teams that kind of cancel each other out in the trenches at the skill positions. But I think quarterback play between a matchup like that, Carson Beck versus a Byron Brown, interesting spot. Gunnar Stockton versus Joey Aguilar. I think quarterback play is going to define this weekend, and we'll feel either better or worse about several of the top teams in the country, depending on how they have their quarterbacks play this weekend in a pretty big spot.
Dude, you nailed that. That's what I would say. Man. You nailed that. You absolutely nailed that.
You threw me a changeup there. I was really excited to just maybe pick a team or like a game I'm excited about or something.
Is there a game or team you're excited about?
But you said, can you give me a word
or a phrase or a phrase?
Last minute edition.
I just wanted to give you just a lot of runway to work. I wanted just a big picture Cato effect applied to this segment. But I'm with you. The quarterback play we'll learn a lot about this week, especially that game going down in Neyland. All right, this has been 25 questions. Caden Smith asking some bangers. And you got a +1 philosophical question there at the end, a big picture abstract thought, which I thought Caden knocked out of the park, personally. But appreciate y'all being dialed in. Again, make sure you are subscribed. Full prediction show for you tomorrow morning, Tuesday, 11 a.m. Eastern, 10 a.m. Central, our time. Appreciate y'all. Love y'all. We'll keep this party rolling, and we will see y'all next time.